Welcome back to the second season and episode 6 of our podcast, Conversations Beyond Borders. This time, Laura, we're going to start with a question for our listeners. That being, have you ever caught yourself saying, I am just so tired? I feel like I hear it everywhere now. My friends say it, women online say it, I say it. And I have to admit, I really thought that I was doing something wrong. Like maybe I wasn't sleeping enough or not getting enough exercise. Maybe I needed to change my diet. But it seemed like this is just a midlife answer for all. And we talked in past episodes, the how are you? And I think it's I'm fine or I'm tired. But I'm wondering if that's just a catch-all word for something that we haven't quite figured out how to describe. Because if I'm being completely honest, I don't actually always feel sleepy. It's not always that I don't have energy, but it feels like I just don't have room. Does that resonate with you, Laura?
Oh, for sure. It feels like I have been tired since May of last year. God.
Isn't that the truth?
Oy.
But we're going to really get into something that's very interesting because we do talk about the word tired, but we're going to reframe that and take a look at the word capacity. It's not really a word that's discussed often, but I think it's going to be really relevant. So, starting with the conversation, it's have you ever noticed that, something completely ordinary, things that something you have done many times before require more from you than they used to?
Oh, for
Not
sure. Like, I don't know, doctor's appointments all of a sudden become like a big day event. Maybe the
yes.
grocery shopping now somehow requires
Uh,
a recovery snack and a sit down.
one of mine for
Oh my
sure.
gosh. Or airport travel, feeling like an
Oh,
Olympic event.
well, it kind of is an Olympic event, but I think we're just not very tolerant anymore of the airport experience. That one I can understand, but I'm sure you have
Well,
others.
I will. Talking about the airport event, I will agree with you on that. It seems like there are a lot of people that like to put their earpods in and ignore the rest of the world. And when you're running to get to your next plane, they have absolutely no awareness of anybody else around
No
them.
awareness.
No, 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 no,
Hmm,
no.
no.
Um, or why packing for a weekend takes more planning than it used to.
I think it's also because we have so many more products. What do you think?
Oh my God. So I'm not on a lot of meds, like prescription meds, thank God, but
Yeah.
I'm on a lot of supplements.
Yeah.
And I'm on the fish oils and I'm on the powdered
right.
creatine. So you're measuring out the creatine
Right.
and you're measuring out then there's the collagen powder. And then there's also the chia seeds. And so to go anywhere, it's like a million baby Ziploc bags with all of
Um,
my little portioned out things.
that is, oh my goodness, that is exactly what I do. A million zip
Yeah, the
bags.
little snack size ones. It's like here's Monday's powders and pills. Here's
That's insane.
Tuesdays. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there is that. But packing is stressful
Oh
now.
yeah.
Packing's stressful
Yeah.
because you have to think and plan for every scenario. When I think when we were in our 30s, you just winged
Oh,
it.
sure, for sure. I tell my husband all the time or ask him, it's like, how, when did I become such high maintenance when it came to packing? When I traveled
Yeah.
with the kids as a family, I mean, I was like the one that had the least amount of things, right? And now it's like, oh, like you said, it's like, oh, what if it's cold? I have to pack a pair of pants, but what if it's hot? Ooh, I have to pack, but then what do I do about a top? And oh my God.
Yeah.
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 It's
Yeah,
definitely a thing.
there's definitely a lot more that maybe we took for granted way back when.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but you're right. Some of these things that you have mentioned, I know that when you and I were preparing for this, one thing that stuck out for both of us and we talked about extensively was, don't you remember when we used to like run out for an errand?
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. And then we would be out all day because we were out.
Uh, and because we were
Yeah.
out and we would get several other things
Hmm.
done, but now like running for an errand feels like a full
Oh
day.
yeah. I can't wait to get home.
When did that
I
happen?
don't know.
Pardon?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was just out last weekend and I need to find a new dining room table.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting in
Oh,
the
no.
parking lot at one of my stops and I'm like, do I queue up the
Too much,
GPS to
right?
go to the furniture store? Or do I just go to the grocery store and come
Yeah.
home?
Yeah,
Do I
yeah.
queue? I mean,
The debate.
this debate went on like 4 or 5 times before I'm just finally
Yeah.
like, whatever. It's like
Either
10
or.
minutes to get there.
Yep.
And you know it's going to take you probably a half hour while you're over there because there's three different furniture stores and it's going to take just do it. Just do it.
And you gotta go way across
Oh,
town that used to be like five
oh
blocks,
yeah.
and it's just
Oh, it
overwhelming.
is. It is. It is.
I agree. Now, the other thing that I think you should touch on with our listeners, and they might be able to relate to, I don't have this perspective yet, but I know you do as a grandparent.
Okay. So
Tell us about your ordinary weekend with the grandchild.
yeah, so we did a vacation. We did a
No,
vacation and it was a blast. It's the first time
it
we've
sounded
oh, it was a
lovely.
wonderful. We her stepdad found this beautiful home on the Oregon coast
Oh,
that obviously overlooked the ocean. It was gorgeous. We had a great weekend. Wow, is that little bug busy? Woof.
right, right.
And we went out at low tide and we saw hundreds of starfish, hundreds in
Gorgeous,
purples and
gorgeous.
pinks and reds and oranges. But I'm just not used to that energy level.
Right.
I'm not used to that. And then you get in the car for the 5 hour drive home,
Yeah.
and it was so much fun. She rode with us until we got to kind of our last stopping point where mom and dad had to go one way and we went the other. Um,
Right.
but when you're not,
And then what happened,
I
Laura?
needed a vacation from my vacation. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. She has
Well,
so much, and it's not. It's just the energy. When you're not used to
yeah,
being around that energy all the time, it's surprising how much
right,
it takes out of you. Um,
right.
but
Never mind, each of us had three
yeah,
children, raised three children. You'd get through your
yeah,
day and you would do all the things. And, I remember getting to the end, with bath time and their sleeping
yeah,
habits and arrangements, only to repeat that day after
yeah.
day after day after day. But for some reason, one errand can absolutely wipe me
Right,
out.
exactly. No, I completely understand. Yeah, yeah,
Well, the other thing that is not ordinary, I suppose, is how technology for both of us,
oh God,
um, yeah, there was a lot of learning frustration going on for both of
yeah,
us because we don't typically, sit in front of a computer after a full day having to learn
hmm,
the next how to.
yeah,
And it's wonderful that videos and those kinds of things have been made available to us. That's how we've been able to put this podcast
yeah.
together. We don't have a
No,
team, it's just you and
yes, and
I.
YouTube.
And so, talk about a defeating, frustrating exercise, just trying to learn something new,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a learning curve every step of the way, and
Yeah,
there are times that it's again, you go back to my 35, 40-year-old self versus now,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you start getting paranoid. Do I have Alzheimer's? Why can't I the early onset? Why am I
yeah.
having a
Why can't
hard
I
time?
pull it
Yes,
off?
exactly, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's a perfect time to remind our listeners that it was trying times, but I think it is having lived that life, lived those experiences, raised our
Mhm.
families, managed a household. We've done all the things, and I think they may have been trying times, but it also was an important time to learn about who we were
Mhm.
and what we wanted to do together on this
Yeah.
podcast. And we never really veered from the reality is we think we have something important to offer. We've lived it,
Right.
and we want to help other women through it.
Agreed.
So
Yes.
um, great times with listening and laughing, but so I don't know. Did life is it did it get harder, or maybe we've just become more aware of what life asks of us? Like, maybe that's the real question. So let's move on to the next discussion about how capacity might look different when we actually reframe the idea of what this tired thing is all about.
So
What do you say we do that?
so I was thinking about this as we were preparing for the this episode. And
Yeah.
the thing that hit me the most was that, when I go back and I think about 35-year-old Laura, 40-year-old Laura, and I
Right.
think of capacity, I think of just physical energy. That's it. Physical energy, what can I get done?
Capability
Yep,
equals
exactly.
yep.
Output, productivity, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now where we're at in life, I believe that capacity is much bigger than just physical energy. I
Agreed.
believe it has to do with emotional energy, mental energy, maybe even sensory energy.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
it's like we have had, too much input in one day, and we're done. We're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's take apart and clarify what we mean by capacity with our listeners,
Mhm.
because I have a feeling I'm hearing heads nodding in unison, even when we start talking about the first thing, which is mental capacity, because I know you and I have shared the frustration of remembering passwords.
Oh dear God, yes, yes, yes. I don't know about you. I've actually gone back to writing everything down in a notebook.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You told me that when we were, I'm going to do the same because you just get them down and then, yeah. And there's, never mind passwords. Now there's, this double authenticity thing that you got to do. And yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. We have to admit, but there is the sort of the fog, the decision fog, and the too many tabs open in our
Oh yes.
brains. Managing our calendars and planning the meals is definitely a mental capacity that, again, we might have just taken for granted a long time
No,
ago.
and I've got to say, when it comes to planning meals, that is the thing right now in my life that I absolutely, every day when I have to go down and make dinner, I'm just like, I have been doing this for
Yeah,
over
yeah,
40 years and I'm tired of making dinner every freaking
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As I tell my family, I don't even know if I'm tired of the cooking aspect, because a lot of that is the robotic work that you and I
Yeah.
have done for so
Yeah.
long. It's the decision
Yeah.
making. It's the what to have. But you're a pro. You got that more
Yeah.
organized.
I do.
You got your weekly grocery
Mhm.
list going in your meal planning. No, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm at the grocery store every day.
I wish I
And
could be
never
that
mind.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and never mind that I still think we are the member of the family to hold all family
Oh, of
memories.
course.
Like, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we carry on the
Mhm.
traditions. And I don't know about you, but I I struggle. I think every year watching my husband struggle putting up the outdoor
He
lights
still does that.
because he is tired and he is frustrated. But what is the real reason he's
What
doing it?
is the
It's
real
not for his
reason?
own pleasure.
No?
No, he is doing it. If my daughter could hear now, she'd be like, uh huh, he's doing it for his little princess.
Oh,
We even have most people are
yeah.
retired in our neighborhood. So, Dawn, I see the yearly lights are going up again. Yep, because I don't want to disappoint Lily.
Yeah.
So, we are the caretakers of all
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
And again, taken for
Oh,
granted.
yeah.
Now, taken for granted, let's look at our emotional capacity in midlife. As I say, we carry everyone's
Mm-hmm.
worries, right?
Yes. Yes.
We're the problem
Yes.
solvers. We are the
Mm-hmm.
listeners.
For sure.
And we've talked about we have to strategize about the aging parents as well
Mm-hmm.
as the adult
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
And again, your perspective as a grandparent is not one that I can relate to, but your story about a vacation
Mm-hmm.
from your vacation is probably very valid as I hear my friends discussing the very same
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And needless to say, your work
Oh,
stress
geez.
is a whole podcast of
Oh,
its
yes,
own.
it is. Yes, it is. But we won't bore the people with that.
Well, people don't think of social capacity as something that is cognitive, you know, during midlife. But if you think about
Mm-hmm.
it, I don't know about you, but when I was a lot younger, putting dinners together and even,
Oh,
decorating
yeah.
for Christmas and so forth was a sheer
Oh, for
pleasure.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But now, my husband suggests that we have the Super Bowl party, and I'm just like, sounds like a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Can I just
Sounds
show
like a
up at
lot of work
somebody's house with a cheese dip and some chips and call it a day?
now. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about a social capacity that is a lot more serious.
Oh, you're talking about
And that,
the hearing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe our listeners, you could share that aspect because I'm sure there are plenty of listeners out there that, again, would understand what you're talking
Well,
about.
I noticed it's probably been within the last 5 years. I noticed that when I'm with a group of people at dinner and we're in a
Hmm.
restaurant, and even if the restaurant is, a little bit noisy, I
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
really hard time being able to focus in. If someone like across the table is talking to me, next to me is not a problem, but across the
right,
table, it's that extra noise. Just it's really hard for me to hear the person across from me. Yeah,
right, right. I think that's real
yeah.
because our sensory capacity at midlife
Oh
changes.
yeah.
You and I have talked about the experience at the airport. I don't think it's an easy one for anyone, given what is happening in most airports. But our tolerance and our ability to
Mm-hmm.
handle, all the
Yeah.
chaos, is much more difficult,
Yes. Agree. Agree. Yeah.
right? And never mind the new diagnoses like my most recent eye diagnoses.
What's that all about?
It's, it, you know, I always went to the eye doctors knowing that it was the appointment I could count on, that all things weren't going to
Yeah. Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that
It's
that
the one
I
thing that things are going okay.
right, right, that I'm not falling down in until I just got a recent diagnosis. I am seeing double out of my right and triple out of my left.
So that means double out of your right. triple out of your left.
Yeah.
So then when you put
Yeah.
the grocery list together for your husband and you run out of paper towel, you tell him you saw five, and so there is no reason to add it to the grocery list, right?
Yeah, so I guess it can work to my benefit.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible when you start to look at the
Mm-hmm.
word capacity
Mm-hmm.
versus are we tired? But maybe our listeners can get a little more curious about their personal circumstances by just considering a few questions that we had for them when we put this podcast together. You and I came up with some things that might be really good for all of us to think about. And the first being, what kinds of things seem to drain you now that never used to?
Mm-hmm.
Or what have you been? Are you more protective on your calendar? Do you notice when you've reached your limits sooner? All of this information is critical. And another question might be, is there the difference between not wanting to do something and simply not having the capacity that
Yeah.
day? All very reasonable questions um, that maybe we don't always stop to think about.
Right.
And I think this podcast, when we were coming up with this topic, we didn't really think that it became about being less capable.
Mm-hmm. No, no, not at all.
That it's more of a case of being just more honest,
Yeah.
being more honest about where we're at in life. We're not 35 years old, but do we want some of the things that landed in our lap and on our plate all those years that might be still testing our capacity? So let's get honest in our last part of our conversation about capacity, because honestly, this might feel somewhat like a yearly medical exam that we've just gone through, but it's honesty.
Yeah.
And we think that actually capacity is some sort of, it's actually
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. So can you explain that to our listeners, Laura?
Yeah, so when we were talking about, again, like you said, we were talking about this topic and capacity, and um I started thinking about it, and I started thinking back, and you know I remember, again, being younger and seeing the women who seemingly had it all together. You would
Yeah.
see the teen mom rolling in, completely put together, had the
Yeah.
juice boxes and the cookies specially frosted with all the kids' initials on them. Or,
So true.
I mean, they exist. They existed. And if it's not a teen mom, it's a room mom, the mom that was running the PTA, the book
Yeah.
fair, and again, just making it look so easy. Um,
Yeah. But the difference being, we are not 30 anymore.
No, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. But I will tell you, when I look back, I was totally that person. I was the overachiever, wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
I had it together, and
I'm not surprised.
and now I do not have children in the home. I am not the team mom. I am not the room mom. I'm not the PTO president.
No,
I only work full time. We have the podcast. I
of course.
try to manage a house with two people, not five, just two. And
Right.
anymore these days, I'm lucky if I get to shower twice a week, because
Yeah.
I feel so busy, or maybe it's just the fact, that I just don't have the capacity that I used to.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. And as you said, I don't think that the things that we used to worry and stress about that maybe were about pleasing other people, being the super mom that society expected us to be. Maybe there are pressures in our homes that um, demand that we play a certain
mhm,
role.
mhm,
But I think this wisdom that we're referring to is really going back to what we talked about in our first and second episode, and that is having
Mhm.
a voice about what do we want to do?
Right. Right.
Do we need the production
Right.
that we
Yeah.
once had?
Agree.
I think this capacity is about wisdom,
Mhm.
and it's being able to take this new confidence of letting one thing be enough,
Mhm.
or leaving margin in the day and just not filling every space on our calendar.
Right.
Like, isn't that isn't that some sort of newfound wisdom?
No, for sure. And as I was thinking about all that, I agree. It is newfound wisdom, but some of us are a little more stubborn and don't necessarily get the wisdom right away. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe my body is trying to tell me something my brain does not want to accept, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
part of this so-called transition in life isn't just about hormones and menstrual cycles. Maybe it's also about,
Amen.
exactly right, maybe it's
Amen.
also about making some choices with my time
Mhm.
and my energy, and what do I really want to be doing. And like you
Right.
said, it's not just capacity, it's wisdom.
Yeah, it's not we wake up one morning and all of a sudden, we're going to start making decisions differently. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said in our last episode, once you begin to get the evidence that this these are your decisions, and that others will deal and
Mm-hmm.
maybe not even
Mm-hmm.
notice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a time to put ourselves
Right.
first
Agree.
for
Agree.
once, right?
Agree.
And
Absolutely.
understanding that recovery, like we used to take for
Uh-huh.
granted and not even allow time for, isn't
No.
laziness. It's actually discovering that slower can be richer.
No,
And
agree.
one day you too,
I
Laura, will
know.
learn
I
that.
know.
But
I know.
last weekend you had a free weekend. How'd that go?
Oh, so we are getting ready to go on a trip, and
Yes.
I would rather not have to do social media for the podcast while we're on the trip. So
Yep.
the goal last weekend was to get 2 weeks of social media planned. Not a big
Mhm.
deal. 2 weeks. Not asking for 6 months. 2 weeks.
Right.
So didn't get a damn thing done.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got a child who is wrapping up a master's program,
Mm,
and she
yeah.
has a lot of anxiety around her
Sure.
her capstone project. Her
Well,
um
sure.
her program is ending in the end of this week, and
So Laura's still learning.
yeah, yeah.
Laura's still learning, but what did you do instead, Laura?
Well, I talked her off a ledge while I was in the grocery store.
Oh, haven't we all done that?
Oh yes.
Therapy, therapy at
Yes,
Kohl's is
therapy
what I
therapy
like to
in front
say.
of the jello section.
Why?
Yeah.
Us mom, we do that. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, it's a
Oh
process.
yeah.
We have to learn little bit by little bit that our role as yeah, all problem
Oh
solving,
yeah.
all
Yeah.
knowing, all having the answers, that's hard to let go because we've done it for so long.
Oh, for
But
sure, for sure. But I'll tell you, I mean, I'm glad she called me, and
of
and
course,
I
we want to be
oh,
there for them.
absolutely, absolutely. It's funny because I kind of joke. I would love to have someone grocery shop for me and do my laundry for me and clean for me, and
Yeah.
do some of these things to where all as I had to do was well, and not even go to work. So all I'd have to do is just do the podcast and talk to my kids all day long. I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
That would be the
There you
best thing
go.
ever. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Well, I can tell you because you and I are in some ways at different places because I'm older than you are. Um, I did have a day that was mine, and I had decided it to be so. And I was like in a mini
Oh,
crisis.
geez. Yeah.
I was in a mini crisis because I had told myself, tell yourself when you're busy, these are the things that I'm going to
Hmm.
do when I have the
Yeah.
time and when I make them
Oh, yeah.
so.
We all have
And
that list.
but it was not comfortable.
No.
It was really uncomfortable
Yeah.
to have like a whole day to myself just to do whatever that I wanted. Um, it was really difficult day for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking too hard about it. Um, but yeah, it is a
No,
process.
for sure. For sure.
It is a process. Well, let's wrap this up. I think we have talked a lot about what it is to be so-called tired, but mostly what capacity looks
Hmm.
like, and to look at it with honest
Yeah.
eyes and to really consider all the levels of capacity that a midlife woman is still experiencing, and that it's not something we've lost necessarily, but it's maybe something we've finally started paying attention to, because for all those years we have measured ourselves by how much we could fit into a day. And we know that some of that comes from our patterns and our
Hmm.
family and society's expectations, but perhaps we're measuring our days by how they actually felt. um, so maybe it's different. It's a different way to think about things.
No, agree, agree. So think about, what if this season of life isn't asking us to
Hmm.
prove how much we still can do, but to
Uh-huh.
notice what allows us to feel most like ourselves.
Amen.
Maybe it's not energy, maybe it's capacity. And maybe
Yeah.
learning that difference isn't a limitation, but it's one
It
of the
isn't.
quiet gifts of midlife.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that statement. It is understanding the differences and not being so hard on
Right.
ourselves. It's not a limitation.
Mm-mm.
I choose to think of it as wisdom,
Yeah. No, agree, agree. It's wisdom.
learned
Yes,
wisdom, as they
yes.
used to
I like
say.
that. I like that. Learned wisdom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes that comes very difficult.
Yeah.
Learned it the hard way,
Well,
right?
right.
So we want you to consider that this is about permission, permission to
It
stop
is.
measuring yourself against a version of you whose life, body, responsibilities, and priorities are completely different
Yeah.
than the you when you were 35 or 40.
Exactly.
Consider, I'm not failing, I'm simply living differently now. And I think that's a much more empowering conversation to have.
I believe so too, Laura, and I'm so glad we've had it.
No, agree. And if you want to continue the conversation, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and
Hmm.
Pinterest under Conversations Beyond Borders. We also have a private Facebook group. You can join us on Conversations Beyond Borders with you.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get a reminder when the next episode releases.
Thank you for pulling up a chair and joining us.
Yeah, because this is just one of those
And we're
conversations.
so glad you're here for it.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.